This is Dirshu Mishnah Berurah as we begin a new Simin Lamid Gimel. And today we're going to learn Sif Aleph. We begin Simin Lamid Gimel with the title, the headline, of course, written by the Mechaber, the Beis Yosef, or Yosef Kair himself, in which he titles this Simin Din Tikunei Tefilin. The halachas of Tikunei, the fixings of Tefilin, Medinei Retzuos, and the laws, the rules of the Retzuos. Says the Mechaber in this Kalkal Arshal Shnei Batimi Bati Aroish, if the hide, the leather of two of the houses of the bias of the Tefillin Shal Roish, Gerun Zeyet Zelzu, one next to the other, Im HaTefillin Yishonim, if they're old Tefillin, Psulim it's possible. V'imim Chadashim, if they're new, Ksherim, then it is kosher. Calls man Sha'or Moisha V'abatim Kayim, as long as the base of the tefillin is kayim. And of course you remind yourselves that there's a big difference between the tefillin shal roish and tefillin shal yad. The tefillin shal yad is one internal cavity. The tefillin shal roish is four internal cavities, each internal cavity being its own bias. As we've learned in the past, a separate piece of hide in which the four of them are squeezed and squished together. And now we are learning that if two of the batim, Zeh till Zeh, one next to another, are messed up, then you have a problem. Says the Rama, the bias itself has to be kayam elo. It got ruined a little bit. Some say the opposites. An old bias, ksherim, v'chadashim sulim. V'nir Ali says the Rama, says the Rama, we should machmir both ways. So any time two of the batim are ruined one next to another, whether it's new or old, we're going to have to be machmir both ways for both shitos. Ve'iluim chadashim continues the mechaber l'shitasai, that the mechaber held that if they're old, it's going to be kosher. If it's new, if it's old, it's going to be possible. So what's called new? Calls man shebaya moishchen isaber retzuos. If you pull the retzuos, habayis mispashit v'niftach, the bayis is going to pull and open up. Nikra chadash, that is new. I mean, niftach will not open up. Nikra yashan, that is called old. Then niskalkal shnayim, if two of the batim got ruined, zeh shalom, one next to another, one not next to another. Rishon v'shlishi kisherim afilu mishenim, even if they're old, it's going to be kosher. And niskalkal shlisha batim, if three become messed up, b'chol inyin psulim, in all scenarios, it's going to be possible. So it says the Mishnah Berurah niskalkal. What does niskalkal mean? Pirush shem nifsak v'naseh kera. It becomes a bit ripped. A bit, again, if you have the picture book, the Pir Halacha, on page 229, you see over here, which they show what it means, niskalkal. Mibati aroish, avlim naseh kera mi'abai shal yad. But let's say this happened in your tefillin shal yad. Let's say the one singular cavity of tefillin shal yad got ripped. Possible l'kulei yama b'cholin, and it's always possible. Avshet Torah kayamas, even if the base is kayam. V'lodam l'shal roish, not comparable to l'shal roish, and l'shayir by oid al kopanim izah batim shleimim. Because in tefillin shal roish, even when two become ruined, you always have one of them or two of them, I should say, that are going to be kosher. But when it comes to tefillin shal yad, it's all one cavity, all one bias. Once one of them gets ruined, the whole tefillin are puzzled. Zeh yitzal zeh, one next to another. Ratzalaymer da batim eim semuchim zel zeh, next door to each other. Even if the rips, the tears, the messed up part of the bias is not exactly next door to each other, but if the two batim are next door to each other, that is a problem. The second bias b'dafna yamini, in the right side, and the second of the third, whether it's on the right or it's probably on the left, whether the actual ruined, ripped part are next door to each other is not the detail that we're discussing. One's on top of below. Certainly, if they're both in the same airspace, Yishanim psulim. So the mechaber held, if they're old tefillin, it's possible. The kfar niskalklu machmas yashik, because they got ruined due to their old age. That the Rama quote holds the exact opposite. If it's new ones, that shows us that the leather, the hide, the bias, the tefillin were never good. Keep this man more in a short amount of time, it got ripped. Even if these reasons are not necessary. Let's say it got ruined not by itself, it got ruined got nicked by a knife or something else, still yesh la'achmer b'kol makom. See that if the dibuk mahani, you could glue it together. If you know that it's not an issue with the hide, then you can push it back together. Even if those that you make all the tefillin from one ards, which we see in ayin sham chadashim kishir meld the machaber, the new ones are kosher. Even if the rib is on two batim, kayam hainu ati Torah, the base has to be perfectly intact. The base has to be perfect from all sides. Only making it kosher if internally it is ripped. The Ramah says the halacha because of the gamma batim that you need the batim themselves to be intact. El shenikra is a little bit ruined. Pirush shenikra bein bayis lebayis. Between the two batim, that's where you have a little tear. Avalat stadim, the sides, the external of your tefillin, suich and liyos shleiman has to be complete. Vafilu kara bebayis echad on the external. If on the external part of your tefillin you have a little nail, you have to be super careful. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Zayin, quoting the Ramah. After Ramah quoted the second opinion that held the reverse, the Ramah said you should be machmer lifsol b'shneim. They should both be possible. Al Kain, therefore, says the Ramah, yesh lifsol masher gilim asayfim. It's possible that which the Seifrim do. Shaisim adalad batim, they make the 4 houses. The noisin asay b'tefos choitchin min ar bin bayis labayis. They put into a mold that is separated from one to the next. Kidesh liyen nichvots uboy letas, so that it doesn't get ruined. That is a problem. And the place where it gets cooked, they cover over me with them internally because the outside looks good. That is going to be a problem because we're going through Ramah. The Ramah says whether new or old, we need it to be that you can't have 2 tiers in the internal houses, one next to another. Habai is mispashit. This is how you tell if it's new or old according to the Machaber. That when you pull the ritzuyos, you pull the straps, 2 of you tefillin open up. It's only if you make it all from one piece, and therefore when you pull it, it can potentially open up the 4 batim themselves. Done, but else shavarta arbif neatzmin, the varta is a separate piece of hide. Ein shaykh lemerkin. It's not going to help to pull the mavarta because that's not going to spread out and test whether the 4 batim of the tefillin shel roish are firm or not. But if it says the Mishnah Berurah of Katan Taz, the first and the third, what's a leimar? That's called one not next to another. Even if the tier on the third bayis is on both sides, it's still kosher. Because you have a complete bayis of tefillin that separates them. Let's say the rib is on the second and third bayis of the tefillin shel roish. And Mishnah Berurah already explained if one rib is on the right and one is on the left, still that's called one opposite another. Because they're next door to each other. If the rib is on 3 batim, even it's all on one side, it's going to be possible. Even the new tefillin that above the machaber they're kosher, ripped on 2 of them, one next to another. If it's torn on all 3, it's going to be possible. We'll pick up from Sef Beis in the next year.